All right. It is April 7th, 2024, as we do our live stream for the next hour. Hopefully you're doing well on this Sunday, April 7th, 2024. We'll talk about the Walking Dead Universe, WrestleMania a little bit, the eclipse that's happening tomorrow, if you're in the United States, if you're going to check it out, all that good stuff. But thank you for taking the time to be here. We truly appreciate that. So, like I said, hopefully you're safe and sound. I'm doing well. Got a lot of stuff going on. And there's no Walking Dead, no new episodes of The Walking Dead until the Daryl Dixon show premieres this summer. So it's June, July, August. We don't know exactly, but it says the summer. Saw the little sneak peek. Saw the little teaser trailer. And, it looks more of the same with Daryl in France, and looks interesting, of course. But, I made a video this morning, because I haven't made a video in a little bit. Had a nice little break. And it's necessary in life. I could talk about all the different things, and, it's funny when people are like, what does the ending mean, or ending breakdown, or talking about the ending. Well, it means that the Grimes family is together, and they're back outside of Alexandria, the Commonwealth, or wherever they are, So hopefully you're safe and sound and doing well. Thank you guys for being here. We truly appreciate all the love, support, just good stuff, kind stuff. We appreciate it. We can't do it without you guys. So, Walking Dead is on a break. They're going to start filming the Dead City Season 2 in Massachusetts, I believe this week. Whether it's Monday or Tuesday or whatever, I believe it's going to be another season of 6 episodes. And so we'll have to see what they decide to do there, too. So, JOK from the UK. Very cool. Very cool. So, I think I saw something about, because I talk about the show From. If you have not seen the show From, From, yes, one word, From. It's a good show. It's interesting. It's, we have to figure out what's going on. I believe people were saying that it just got put on the UK version of Netflix, or I guess the, UK area of Netflix. And, that's pretty cool too. So I don't know if it's going to come to the United States on Netflix, but if you have a chance to watch it, I highly recommend it. It's a good show. They've been filming now for months for season 3. So we'll have to see, what happens there. Walking Dead Universe is on a break now, so we're going to just get the one more show this year, Daryl Dixon Season 2, The Book of Carol. And, we'll have to see what Gimple and the future of the Walking Dead universe entails. Jonathan Wilder, Q&A. So the CRM are on our side now, at least that's what it seems. Well, like the CRM is the military. So I don't know if it's actually the CRM. I think it's the Civic Republic. So remember, the Civic Republic is the governing body. The council, those people there too. The CRM was Major General Beale's people and the military part of that. And so with Major General Beale gone, Okafor gone, Thorne gone, Jadis gone, all the other nonsense gone. So don't know what that means, And I talked about it in my video this morning. So I don't know if you guys noticed that the Civic Republic military was always the 3 rings. Portland, Omaha, Campus Colony, and I guess Philly was in there, the other, ring. But the 3 rings got knocked down to 1 circle, 1 ring at the end, the very end, in the helicopter that Rick and Michonne came and met with RJ and Judith, had 1 ring on it. So like 1 group, 1 world, 1, everything working together, that people could come and go. And it just is like so rushed and so crazy and just happened. And Thorne, so hopefully you guys watched the episode, but Thorne, great. So it was so rushed that everything happened so quickly at the end of just the series, which was like, wow, that's kind of crazy to think about all the episodes that they could have had or gone a separate way. Like literally they were like, okay, Rick and Michonne are going to find each other in the first episode. And then we're going to go backtrack to Michonne's story. We saw Rick's story. And then by episode 3, they're going to do a little bit there. Michonne's going to be part of the group. And then she's going to try to escape. Rick's going to be kind of tethered down there. Couldn't really do much. Then they decide to work together. Michonne slaps some sense into Rick. Rick comes around. Episode 5, Jadis dies. Episode 6, they get to the CRM, the Cascadia base, blow everyone up, and boom, CRM's done. So 2 people took down a major organization. The biggest military operation in the world. You're like, okay, how did 2 people just get rid of it? How does a bunch of teenagers take down the people in World Beyond? Like, it's just like, what are you doing? Like, it's just crazy to think about the nonsense that was kind of written into this universe just because they wanted to have something that was just for the show, to continue the story, to continue everything that way. And it's just crazy to me to think that they couldn't really... Oh, they could have. They easily could have stretched it out for 3 seasons. But Andy and Denai really looks like they only do 1 season. And I know, like, it was funny because, like, they were like, is there going to be 1 season, 2 seasons, limited series? That doesn't mean there's going to be 1 more. There's going to be 2. There's going to be this. That doesn't mean anything. There's going to have more. They're going to do more. There's going to be more seasons. And it looks to be 1 season. But it's just funny how people talk all this smack, talk all this junk, talk all this crap. And then where are they now? Remember all the people that said Rick wasn't going to lose his hand? Where are they now? Where are the people said there's going to be 1 season? It looks to be just 1 season. The way they wrapped it up, it makes no sense for them to have another season of this show. It was a limited run. I would love to see Andy Lincoln and Denai film again, be part of it in some way, shape, or form. But it was the epic love story of Rick and Michonne working together to come back around again. So it's just kind of what it was. Wilson, Q&A, how come those helicopters landed, dropped Rick and Michonne off, and no one else around to greet them? You'd hear well, because probably the budget, right? You would want to have everybody there to greet them. Hey, Rick, good to see you. You got Jerry, you got Ezekiel, you got Father Gabriel, you got Aaron, you got Daryl, you got Carol, you got Maggie, you got everybody under the sun. But they ain't got a budget for that, guys. Remember, this was a limited run, limited series. The big thing was that. In a perfect world, you could write that in a comic book, draw it up, and bing, bada, boom, done. Here, you have to have the cast be available to film. You have to pay them. You have to take it. It's just all these extra things, right? It takes all this extra into account. Yes, other people should be there. How is Judith and RJ by themselves? There's no escort, right? Like, it just doesn't make sense for that to happen, but it is what it is. The timeline of this and that. I ain't trying to figure out this show. It's just laughable that, you know, people try to figure this stuff out anymore because they can do whatever they want, how they want to do it. They can put their little thumbnails up and they go, oh yeah, Morgan's coming back because of this and that. Morgan was nowhere to be found. All this extra crap, you know, it's just laughable. But, you know. Yeah, it's true. Michonne and Rick can do anything, and obviously in the Walking Dead universe, they can. They have the plot armor and the everything on their side, so they can do whatever they want. Jonathan Wilder, Q&A, did you watch WrestleMania 1 last night, or Night 1 last night, and will you watch the... So I watched a lot of more matches than I thought I would have last night. It was better than I thought. I didn't actually watch the Roman Reigns, Rock, Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins match, but obviously the Roman Reigns and Rock match went in their favor to set up the big match tonight with Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. So, you know, I'm not a big Roman Reigns fan, so I don't really care about him. I want Cody Rhodes to win because I think he would be the better face of the company. It would set up better things. Roman Reigns has no personality whatsoever when it comes to in-ring stuff. He's an athlete. He can move and everything like that. But you got to have some personality. If you're the face of that, it's just what it is too. So, but I'll probably watch a little bit here and there. But it was better than I thought. Being in Philly, I had to watch, I'm from New Jersey, but I've lived, 20, 30 minutes outside of Philadelphia my whole life growing up. So it was kind of cool. It was crazy to think that it was 50 degrees outside of the event. And because, it's outside. It was at Lincoln Financial Field, which is interesting because that's in the ones who live at Lincoln Financial Field, the ones who live where Okafor bombed. That is the stadium that was set in that there too as well. So I never watched Hall of Fame. I might watch like a couple clips and parts there too, but I didn't watch that. I got to see the part with The Rock get the belt from Muhammad Ali's, I'm guessing widow is who that was. But that was kind of cool. Solar eclipse tomorrow, like Rob K says. Who's watching? Who's going to watch the solar eclipse tomorrow? Are you in the path of totality? Like in Texas and Kentucky and Ohio or whatever that is on there too, like Buffalo, Vermont, like it goes down this path. And it looks like they'd be pretty quick. I'm going to try and go outside because I have lunch around the time that would be here. And I know in Tampa Bay, we're about like 60% of it or something. So I'll probably go outside and kind of see what's going on if the weather is okay. But Rob K says, I'm in the 97% totality zone. So, yeah, you definitely got to check it out. It's pretty, they say life-changing. Our weather guy here, Dennis Phillips in Tampa Bay, he saw it a couple years ago. And he said it's life-changing and it's kind of thing you won't be disappointed. So that's kind of cool. I'm going to wait for the one in 2045 when it's going to come over Tampa Bay. So that's in 21 years. If I'm still alive and still around, I'll definitely check it out for sure. Jack, hi, Brian. Q&A. How do you think Daryl would have handled the end is the beginning group? I don't know. Because it's tough to think what Daryl would do because Daryl blends in with stuff and he can do stuff that when he needs to, but Daryl would have taken those fools out for sure. Probably would have tried to stop the nukes from going off, probably unsuccessful because that was probably going to be what it is too. So Wilson, are you watching Shogun? Nah, I don't really. I'm not watching Shogun. Jonathan Q&A, hope you didn't mind me missing your live last 6 weeks because I didn't watch. No, it's fine. No problem, John. I get it. Some people want spoilers. Some people don't. And that's, if you don't want spoilers, it's over now. Like, who cares? There's not really spoilers going around. It's definitely something that I understand totally. Not everyone wants spoilers. So I'm not, people come and go on the channel. That's fine. I'm not here. I know that I'm going to be taking breaks from the Walking Dead universe because there's not going to be much to talk about. People are going to be like, oh, is Rick and Michonne? I've already made the video that talk about, are we going to see them again? And I think we need to see Rick reunited with Daryl. Like, even if Rick has to show up for one day, film with Daryl, bing, bada, boom, done. That's how you wrap up the Daryl Dixon series. Because the fact that Daryl was looking for Rick, got basically captured and taken prisoner on a boat, had to escape that, ended up in France. Carol's going to somehow get there too. They're going to destroy the powers that be if they're CRM related. Because remember, Major General Beale did say that they have spies and people all over the country, let alone world. So we have that open to still have the CRM connection there too. Again, the Civic Republic is connected with the United States that we saw there. Could that be carried over to the Daryl Dixon show, season 2 or season 3? I think there's going to be a third season of that show. But I am excited to see the possibility of that. And I think we need to see Daryl and Rick reunited, right? So at the end of the day, The Ones Who Live was fan service for Rick and Michonne to come together for an epic love story to be reunited with RJ and Judith at the end of it. They took down CRM in the process. Some stuff was far-fetched and a little crazy and a little this and a little that, but it is what it is. Overall, very good series. One of, if not the best spin-off show since The Walking Dead, in my opinion. Phantom Deluxe Q&A, you mentioned some time earlier that you should have set up CRM earlier in the main show. show to end it all in the big final battle. At which point in the show do you think was it good to introduce them? Well, it was perfect when like Jadis and stuff came around, where like the Jadis character could have, and it was like it was trial and error. Like they didn't know what the heck they were doing with it. And they're like, okay, this Jadis chick who has no bearing to the comic whatsoever is going to connect with this CRM group that has no bearing with the comic whatsoever. That's going to connect the dots. So, of course, Jadis was in each of the other spinoffs. She survived. But to have a major character, hence Major General Beale, die off and be such a lackluster character in the Walking Dead universe, especially of the biggest military operation, like it was just like he is the guy. So you would have people in there too. There's a ranking order system that is there, and Major General Beale was at the top. So who was the second in command? Okafor? Then who was the next person? Who was, there has to be checks and balances, and people there to report. And so, I talk about different things that are still left open-ended, but the world beyond was addressed in this show, but that could have been something that, I don't know. It's just one of those things that just could have been so many things. But it's all right. It is what it is. We get what we get. We don't get upset, and we move along. Jack, Q&A. If you had to pick one character from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul to do well in the Walking Dead universe, who would it be? I think Nacho would be a good one. To do well, though, because I think it's got to be Mike, right? Like, I think Mike has to be the one from that universe that makes the most sense, in my opinion. But I just think it makes sense too. So, what was my favorite match last night? Mine was the Man versus Mamie. I don't know. Well, because I saw that match. It was Becky Lynch versus what's her name? Rhea Ripley. That was okay. The ladder match thing had its moments. The Bianca Belair, Jade, and Naomi match, like that was so stacked against Asuka and whatever. That was so those three would destroy all the women wrestlers. And then the last match I watched was Sami Zayn versus Gunther. I don't know, I don't even know my top match, but they all had their moments. I like the moment with Jason Kelsey coming out to help Rey Mysterio. So that was kind of cool. They all had their little moments and little stuff there too. So it was kind of as well. So, but overall, guys, The Walking Dead. So my thing is, how are they going to wrap this up? Like truly wrap it up. Like Gus Fring. Yeah, Gus would be good. I think Gus or Mike would be great characters there too, because they would blend in very well like Carol kind of does. And I think they would just get stuff done. Like I think Mike would be probably part of the Saviors. And I think Gus would be part of, I don't know, like some other group. Maybe even, I don't know. I think it would work too. So Nick says Madison must return. Why? She already came back, so I don't need to see Madison, and I don't need to see anybody from Fear the Walking Dead ever again. I think that it makes sense that we see Morgan somehow, some way, but he's a Walking Dead character that kind of made, so I don't know. So, like, The Walking Dead is a comic book, right? And the comic book is all about the issue, the next issue, the next issue, the next issue, the next issue. Wait, the next issue. Keep reading. The next issue. Wait, there's more. Here's a double issue. Next issue. That's what it's all about, right? So, Christy asked, when is Daryl supposed to come back? So, is the Daryl show, Christy, you mean? So, it's a summer show. We don't have an exact date yet. But I'm guessing like June or July, unless they're going to string it out to August. But I would hope they would have it, sooner rather than later. I think Daryl doesn't come back to the United States until season 3. That's just my guess and my assumption, though. 'But we'll have to see what that entails. So, I think Daryl doesn't come back to the United States until season 3. That's just my guess and my assumption, though. But we'll have to see what that entails. So, I think Daryl doesn't come back to the United States until season 3. That's just my guess and my assumption, though. But we'll have to see what that entails. So, The comic book story is keep going, keep going, keep going, more issues, nothing, more. There's no like ending until they make you buy an issue like the death of Superman. And then he doesn't actually die. And it's like, what the, But on TV shows and in movies, we need a beginning, a middle, and an end. You have to have the resolution of things. And you can open up other stories. That's why I don't know how they're going to continue the CRM story unless we get to meet and see Major General Beale's son, who's going to carry along with it. But you would think that he would have been seen again. Like, there was no carryover whatsoever with any of the characters from The World Beyond, except for Jadis, and she's a Walking Dead character. So the characters that came from other shows survived other shows to move on to the next show. And so I don't know what the true ending is going to be. And I don't know if Rick and Michonne are going to be a part of that. Are we really going to do The Walking Dead The Next Generation? Because at this point, I don't know if you've seen Kaylee Fleming, but she's 17 years old and she's much taller and she's much more of a young woman than she was on The Walking. Even at the end of the Ones Who Live, she was much taller. She was much older. She was just older from when The Walking Dead ended. And so they can easily do that. There can be a time jump, and then you can have that. So you can have Judith, RJ, and all the other younger kids that can fit, right? I mean, it's just part of life. Growing up, kids get bigger. They go through adolescence and puberty and everything. It just happens. It's part of life. We've all been there. And so what are we going to have for the final thing? What are the spinoffs going to be? What is going to be the final episode, series, spinoff, show? Like, what is it going to be? Does Gimple even know? Is there an ending for it? Or you're just going to keep it going to keep making money? Because, like, what's really annoying is when a show goes and then just ends. Oh, it wasn't renewed for a third season. It wasn't renewed for a fourth season. That's done. See you later. So there's no resolution. There's no ending. There's no anything whatsoever. And that's frustrating. And so the Walking Dead comic ended with the show. That comic is done. That's the ending of that story. But the show is the show, the comic is the comic, and the spinoffs are the spinoffs. Okay? Great. Now what? Because The Walking Dead was an ending, but it wasn't. It set up Daryl on his motorcycle going away. Judith and RJ were at the Commonwealth at the end. Then we see them meet up with Rick and Michonne, who took down the CRM. But there can always be another group, right? Like the comic had the Saviors and the Claimers, and had the different groups, the Wolves, and the show did a little twist on it and stuff, which was fine. And I liked the little twists and things that they did. You can have another group like the Reapers. That was just for the show. A lot of build-up, a lot of fluff, a lot of stuff showing there too. And they were this big tactical group, military operation that just got taken. It was just pathetic. It was a lot of build-up, but the execution was very quick. You could say that is the MO of The Walking Dead. Build up, falls flat. Terminus, all that build up. A lot of build up. The radio broadcast, the signs, them trying to get there. They finally get there. They do this. They're in a train car. One episode, an awesome episode, one of the best episodes, but it was short-lived. Then they go to the church to meet Father Gabriel. They follow them, the termites, and then there too. But The Walking Dead is all about them arriving at a community. Stuff breaks down, and there's a problem with the community. And then they have to leave that community, right? It lasted much longer with Alexandria, the Kingdom, and Hilltop. But the Kingdom eventually fell apart. Hilltop got burned down. They built it up again. And then Alexandria was the only one they stayed there for a while. And it just didn't fit that other stuff that they would do. They would go to a community, it would be this, and a problem with that. The prison fell apart. They've lasted a certain amount of time, but eventually stuff fell apart. And Alexandria was theoretically still there as well. But it just is something that it's still meaningful to us. Like, we could stop watching right now and go watch other shows. There's plenty of other shows. There's plenty of other movies. There's plenty of other things to go watch. It's a great time to be alive, right? Because there's so much movies, shows, streaming services. I'm loving X-Men 97. Awesome. Hopefully there's a bunch of seasons of that, bunch of episodes. Like, I'm excited to see where that's going. But we'll have to see. Mandalorian, very good. The different stuff on Hulu, of course, Netflix, Amazon. There's a bunch of stuff to watch. There's documentaries, there's other shows, there's other, movies, there's other series. And you don't have to watch The Walking Dead anymore. I know some people love it. They're going to keep watching it over and over and over and over and over again. I never want it to end. I know there too, and that's great. But, life goes on, life moves on, and you have to have a resolution for it, or it just feels like it's just going through the motions. So to date, right now, April 7th, as I make this video, The Walking Dead is done. Fear the Walking Dead is done. World Beyond is done. The Ones Who Live is done. Tales of the Walking Dead seems to be done. We have the Daryl Dixon show and Dead City. 2 shows, right? So how can that carry the franchise? How can that carry the universe? Well, you have Daryl and Carol in that. Very important. You have Negan and Maggie in the other one. Very important. Are you going to have a 3rd show? There was rumors that Gimple was working on a 3rd show. Well, what do we need that show for? Because, yeah, we can see the Commonwealth. We can see Daryl and Carol. We can see Maggie and Negan. We can see New York City. We can see, New York or Massachusetts. You can see the Commonwealth. You can see Alexandria. You can see all the characters that remain. But what are we seeing it for? What is the point, right? The walkers are going to be around forever? Like, it makes no sense. But they seem to be around forever. And they're just thrown in here and thrown in there too. And so what is going to be the next big thing? Is there going to be? I don't know if there's going to be something else that's out there that draws people back in, that is so amazing, that is like, wow, The Walking Dead is back. Because you had Rick and Michonne, 2 of the top 5 best characters in The Walking Dead universe. And what's going to be that? And I really have no idea how many people watch The Ones Who Live. I know it was the biggest streaming service on AMC, the biggest streaming cell on AMC, and is this and that, of course. But AMC Plus is not this huge network. It's not Netflix. It's not something there, so that tells me nothing. Was it a couple million people? I have no idea how many people watched it on AMC. And again, I don't care, because I have no skin in the game with that, and it makes no difference to me if 4 million people watch it, 5 million people, or 1 or less than a million. Like, I know Fear the Walking Dead was getting less than 1 million viewers. And you can just tell how many people watched the videos on YouTube who really cared about it. That just connects. There's a correlation with that too. When The Walking Dead was important to people and more people watched it, people were trying to get their fix and seeing what was going on. So we'll have to see if if Dead City and Daryl Dixon make sense and connect with things. You can easily connect with it, right? I don't know. Yeah, I don't, Jonathan. I don't know. I don't know much about that topic. I don't know what's going on with that stuff right now, and we'll have to see. Only time will tell what happens with it. Stuff always comes out, or it doesn't. We'll have to see what the actual unfolds with that. Yeah. So, other than that, guys, The Walking Dead is still relevant in people's lives, not nearly like it was. And I wonder what the next big thing is going to be. What's the next big show? What's the next big series? What's the next big something? Because The Walking Dead came out of nowhere in 2010, And yeah, it was a comic, but it still, changed the game with it. Nick says they should take on the Milo and Otis ideas for the Walking Dead universe from the Fear of the Walking Dead. Fear writers. The Last of Us Season 2. Yeah, that's that. I'm excited for that. So I'm excited for The Last of Us Season 2. I'm excited for From Season 3. I'm excited for Netflix. Stranger Things on Netflix. What's that? Season 5? Like, is that the? I don't know. Is that I know it's the final season, but I don't know that. And yeah, I mean, of course I'm gonna watch Rebel Moon Part 2 because I got to see what happens there on Netflix. I'm going to watch that Mike Tyson, Jake Paul thing in July to see that craziness. UFC 300 is this upcoming Saturday, so I'll have to see what happens there. So, I mean, shows come around every so many years, and it's definitely awesome to be a part of it, like The Sopranos, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, other shows that people like with The Wire and stuff. People really enjoyed those. But we'll have to see what the future holds. I mean, hopefully The Last of Us Season 2 and beyond is going to be, interesting and captivating because, they can easily have a couple of different seasons of that show. And the first season was really good. And I know they're filming that as well. Diana, Q&A, would an end be finding a cure? I mean, it could be. I know Kirkman said that he doesn't want that to be a part of his story. But so many years have gone by. Excuse me. Who's going to find a cure? I don't think that universe, The Walking Dead, needs to have a cure. I think it just needs to just be a part of the lore of it and just go its separate ways. I don't know if we're going to get answers about anything that people care about. I mean, what's left open in the Walking Dead universe that you want to have answers for? Like, is Heath that really big of an answer for you? Because they didn't cover it on the show that they should have covered it. So I doubt they're going to cover that at all. The World Beyond stuff was probably closer to a cure than anything, but that was 2 seasons. Are we going to find out more about stuff from the post-credit scene of the World Beyond? Because that would make sense if we find out more about the Primrose team and this and that. But people, I don't know, like, it's always tough when you see different characters, added to the Walking Dead universe, and some are good, but it's a tough thing, when you add a new character or not. Like, is it going to be someone exciting? What is the future of it? Are they short term? Are they just for the filler? Like Dead City, all those characters were filler for Negan and Maggie. The Ones Who Live, all those characters were filler for Rick and Michonne, right? And I think a lot of us liked Nat. And a lot of us liked the different characters there too. So I know it just makes sense for to add some characters here and there, but it just seems like they're filler for the main characters too. So let me see some of the questions here. Carol, Q&A, have you read the book series Hell on Earth? Also, any plans, intentions, aspirations to bring Fight for Us to film? Well, I mean, I would love for Fight for Us to be a show. Even if it was animated or anything like that would be amazing. Like, that would be an amazing thing in my life. I don't know how to go about that. I don't know how it is. And, my Fight for Us, so for those who don't know, Fight for Us is my zombie apocalypse story. It's 20 books from the beginning to the end. There's a whole story in that too. And it's just something that is meaningful to me because it's loosely based on, and it's fictional, of course, but it's loosely based on my life with my wife and everything too. So, yeah, I mean, so Jeannie says, do the zombies rot properly in Fight for Us? Yeah, I mean, so I discussed it a little bit on there. I mean, so I don't want to give too much away, but I don't want my series to end. And that's always probably a thing where it's like, how do you end it? How do you end it? How do you end it? So, I've always thought about writing a book series, and I wrote 20 books, and I had the 3 books of the In 100 Days, so the prequel. And it's definitely a thing that means a lot to me. And so I have ideas for a second series and I would definitely go into that more about the virus, the zombies, the main character, Ryan, and just the science of it. And then, of course, all the other drama that needs to be there for a book series, all the good drama stuff to keep you guys interested for it. But so I definitely don't have a billion zombies roaming around. Tampa Bay is where the story takes place. But stuff would be less and less and less. And throughout the series, it gets less and less. And so I kind of left it a little open for sure. Dragon Q&A thoughts. Having the final villains being Beale's spy master and the spies having to be routed out, similar to Germany dealing with the former East German Stasi. I think so. That would be kind of cool. Like, it would have been better if you planted the seeds more for the future of things. Like The Walking Dead and shows in general, not just The Walking Dead, but they just glance over things. Because, like, when Rick and Major General Beale were talking, they said a lot of crap during the Echelon briefing, right? They were like, this and that, and who did you lose, and what was the biggest thing you did to survive, and what did you do here? So the Echelon briefing is, we're going to kill groups of people because we're running out of resources, we're running out of stuff, we're running out of everything, we can't do this, we have to stay hidden, we have to keep everything to ourselves, and we have stuff, we have people all over the country, let alone the world, right? And we could, dive into that too. So, and it's definitely something that is cool to see where the future would be, but I don't know. Like, to me, at the end of it, just wrap it up. Wrap it up. Come on, wrap up the Walking Dead universe. Stop stretching it out. And I like the idea that there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I like the idea you can have it be something that is meaningful, the story is there, and then you move on from it. Like, I like football season, NFL, and college being August, September to January, February. Done. Then we get a break, March, basketball and hockey and NBA and this, and you get a break, and then back to that. Like, there's a finite amount of time that you have with it, and then it picks back up, and that's sports. But in a book series, there's a character, development, problems, solving, this, sequence, loss, gain, trials, tribulations, ups, downs, problems, solving those problems, new problems, thinking you've finished those problems, and then creating new problems. It just makes sense for that too. So it's just like, you gotta have, you can't just keep going forever. Like, you know how draining that is? Like, I have to have a work day that's 8 hours, and then I come in, I go, and I clock in, clock out, I'm out. Boom. I'm just not there all the time. Just there too. Gotta have the finality of things, and it's nice to have that. Same thing in stories, Like, if you just keep stretching out, okay, where are we going with this? Where are we going with this? Okay, this again, where are we going with this? Okay, So it's just making sense. Thanks. It's called The Walking Dead for a reason. Faded Fragger. So what does that mean? Of course, that's the title. But, okay, it's for a reason. Yeah, it's not called Zombie Story. The never-ending zombie story, but what does that mean? I don't know. So it's definitely something that I'm excited to see where it goes still, but I need to have so Gimple. We all know that Gimple's like it's gonna be movies and hits his little and not really answering anything. And you're like, just answer the questions. Give us some stuff. And then they go and they show this and they show that. And they have teaser and this little thing. And they build up the hype for it. And then they come out. And so you can give us some information without spoiling things. Right? Like, you don't have to tell us everything. But tell us what the plan is. If there is a plan. Because right now, I don't know what the plan is. I know that Rick and Michonne went away. They found each other. They survived. They took down the CRM. They changed that whole dynamic, and now they're back. They're being part of the group. So we're guessing that Carol was there and knew about Rick and Michonne coming back. We didn't see her, obviously, at the end of The Ones Who Live. But we're guessing that's who she said on the radio to Carol or to Daryl when she said that someone so came back. So we know that Carol and Daryl are going to be reunited this season of the Daryl Dixon Show, the Book of Carol. And good, great, awesome. But now that Carol is going to go find and help Daryl, which we know and love. Those are like, so I think it's great that it's Carol and Daryl working together. I think it's going to help the show because their dynamic is good. Just like Michonne and Rick, their dynamic is great. So Daryl and Carol working together just works. Negan and Maggie, they don't work well together. That's like oil and water. It don't mix. We don't want them to there. They're forced together. It really should just be the Negan show, in my opinion. But it is what it is, and we'll see what that story unfolds. We'll see what happens with Dead City. Just like Dead City, to me, is the third best show out of the three, right? We have The Ones Who Live, Daryl Dixon. So The Ones Who Live, Daryl Dixon, and then Dead City. So, like, that's the three rankings, in my opinion. If you're a Negan fan, you probably love Dead City. And I like Dead City, don't get me wrong. But just the nonsense with this and the story of that, and it's just like little things were dumb and whatever, but it was enough to draw it in. So Dragon says, I do not believe Carol said Rick came back. She would have expressed more emotion. Really? On a radio that was breaking up? You could hear the emotion? So Carol has no idea that Rick and Michonne came back then? No? Okay. That's fine. So much time has passed, and you know, it's like the timeline of things was like, okay, Rick and Michonne went away, and then the bridge, and then this year's and 5 years, 6 years now, here, there. So is the now they just came home and Carol's not there? So Carol went away and doesn't know that Rick and Michonne are there. So then that's got to be another reunion that we need to see. We got to see that too. So Dragon Bride, do you not think she would have been, oh my God, Rick is not dead? Well, you don't know. Like the radio was breaking up. Like they were like talking, they got a hold of each other. Like that was weird. And it wasn't easy to do. You know, you're just not talking on iPhones like, hey guys, guess who came back? They weren't FaceTiming. Like it was on a broken radio that had bad reception. And again, we'll have to see what it is, but it was there for a reason. It was there to talk about it, to build up the speculation and build all that stuff. We know how it goes, right? So the speculation needs to be there. And it just ultimately happens with the Walking Dead universe. Build it up, and then fall flat. So you're probably right. You're probably right. Everybody's thinking that Carol was there, reunited with Rick and Michonne. You would think they would bring them along to find Daryl then. But like I still don't know why Carol went alone. She's a lone wolf. So there's all these little things. But they build it up, build the speculation. Oh, they came that or two, right? And then Carol went and to find Daryl. She didn't find him yet. But I'm hoping she... So this is now Rick and Michonne story with Carol and Daryl. But not an epic love story because they're not together. They do love each other and they care about each other, but I don't think it's in a romantic way. Maybe it will. You know, maybe could it be at the very end of it where Carol and Daryl kiss or something? I don't know. But at the end of the day, people want that relationship to happen more. It's unnecessary in my opinion too. So, but yeah, so we'll have to see what happens there with that. But it's a lot of different stuff, and they're building it up and drawing us in too. So, but we'll see. Rob Case says, I'm excited for Kim Coates joining Dead City. The guy will fit perfectly into the ZA. Well, Kim Coates already was in a zombie apocalypse story. Where has Kim Coates been in a zombie apocalypse story? Let me know in the chat. Kim Coates was on Sons of Anarchy and other stuff. And I think he's like a great, not like evil, but like a villain, anti-hero, just out to help himself. You know, he's in a pretty big zombie apocalypse story. He did Waterworld, right? Yeah, maybe. When I think of Kim Coates, I think Sons of Anarchy. You know, he's a big character there too. But we'll see if you guys get it. Which movie was Kim Coates in that's a zombie apocalypse movie? But he just got that schwarmy, look out for yourself, save yourself type of thing, which is there too. So, no, not Army of the Dead. It's older. Not Zombieland 2. He might be in those movies, but he's actually in a different one. He's in. I'm gonna give you a little more time, but I'll answer it in a couple minutes, unless somebody gets it. Day of the Dead. No, no, it's he's in. So do I have to give? I'll give you a hint. It's a video game. Not the first, zombie video game that was made, but there was multiple movies of this franchise, and he's in one of those. There's not Doom. It's Resident Evil. Wilson's Resident Evil with the question mark, but he's in one of the Resident Evil movies. It's when Lilu Dallas goes to Las Vegas for Resident Evil. That whatever one that was, one of the Resident Evil movies. He's in that. But yeah, it's pretty cool that he's gonna join the cast, and I hope he's not like one and done. Like you bring him in for a small part. Yeah, it might be Extinction, Resident Evil Extinction. I don't know. I remember seeing him, and it's when they gotta land the plane on the roof and all that craziness that ensues there. So pretty cool. Yeah, Extinction. Yeah, if Extinction was the Vegas one, then it's Extinction. That's where he's at. So other than that, guys, are you guys... So my wife was asleep on the sofa, and I was like trying to watch something, but I can't watch anything without her being awake for it too. So I was watching Baby Driver, like the opening of it. And if you've never seen Baby Driver, it's on Netflix. And it's filmed right in Georgia, in Atlanta, downtown. The high-speed chase opening sequence is driving all around Georgia and Atlanta. And it's John Bernthal's in it. And it's John Hamm's in it. And a couple other people are in there too. And so John Bernthal was Shane, as we know. But John Hamm, I believe, was in the running to play Negan. So, and it's filmed in Georgia, and as the driver is driving around, it's a pretty good sequence. It's a pretty good opening, action-packed sequence of that movie. The movie's okay, but it's a good start. So if you haven't seen Baby Driver, it's on Netflix for sure. But other than that, we're watching different shows, and we haven't really watched any movies. What did we watch recently? I haven't really watched too much, but yeah, there was a couple people that were that tried out for the role or auditioned for Negan, and John Hamm was one of them. Henry Rollins was one of them, obviously, because he's the comic inspiration for the Negan character, and there's a whole big thing about that as well. But at the end of the day, the Walking Dead universe is gonna be with me forever. Even if I watched no other Walking Dead universe shows or spinoffs, which I'm going to watch, but even if I stopped watching it right now, it would have been an impactful series in my life and all of our lives. you know. And I think there's only like a select few of shows and movies that really have been impactful in our lives. I mean, maybe a lot, but overall, The Walking Dead is definitely going to be one of those too. So, Carol Q&A, are there any other shows you find worthy of doing discussions on? Well, I want to keep it like relevant to what's in show, like what's going on now. I don't know what's coming up in the short term that is worth talking about, but I definitely like, The Last of Us season 2, From season 3. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I want to, talk about, but like, I don't know. That's a good question for you guys too. Like, what other shows or stuff that would you guys want to talk about before the show of Daryl Dixon season 2 starts? Like before that, because that could be months, So if it's April 7th, we got April, May. If it doesn't come back in June, maybe even July, that's like 4 months. And I'm excited for Deadpool, but that comes out in July. I was watching Deadpool, the first movie on HBO, and it's a good movie. Like Ryan Reynolds does a great job as Wade Wilson, and the guy who's the bartender that was in the first 2 movies and then got fired. Like he does a good job. He's pretty funny, and it's a shame because he, I think was something with possible substance abuse or anything, but it was something that he did a good job as that character. Jose, do you think Dwight and Sherry will show up in Dead City at some point? I hope so. That would be cool. I mean, I would love to see that. I would love to see them going there, but evidently they're going back to the sanctuary. And so they're just going to rebuild the sanctuary, I'm guessing. Because like the Fear of the Walking Dead ending is like stupid. Like it's just nonsense for Alicia and Madison to come together with the little girl. And then Morgan and little Mo go away. And then everyone else splits up. And they're like, see you later. And everyone's alive. Like the type of thing. So, I don't know. I have not seen Ghostbusters Frozen Empire yet. I've heard mixed reports about it, even though I do want to watch it. I have not seen the new Ghostbusters. I'm a Ghostbusters fan, but after the first 2 Ghostbusters movies, they didn't know what they were doing with it. Like, okay, they had the first 2 movies pretty close together, and then there was no Ghostbuster movies forever. And then you're like, we're going to have these women be Ghostbusters that have no connection with the original Ghostbusters. And so that was a misstep. And then you're like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Let's do this. So then they have a house and a this and a that. So then you kind of connect the dots better with the original Ghostbusters. And that's what these latest 2 movies are, connections with that. And I stand by, I hate reboots of things. Like, don't reboot the series. Don't remake it. Just continue this story in a way, especially if it's something that makes sense. Like, a great example is like Point Break, right? Don't remake Point Break. We don't need a new Johnny Utah. We don't need a new, Patrick Swayze character. We don't need new bank robbers. We need Johnny Utah's son that continues it. I always go back to Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick. You could have easily remade Top Gun and had all new actors play the same characters, but you didn't. You had Maverick, who's still Tom Cruise, and it worked, and it made $1 bajillion. Like, here's a movie idea that I hope, because I heard something that they're planning to make Heat 2. So if you know what Heat is, that's a movie starring Robert De Niro. And it's about bank robbers. And it's Robert De Niro, Val Kilmer. Al Pacino is the police officer that's going after them. And there's a lot of bigger characters there's a lot of big actors in that, right? And I don't want to see a remake of that. I want to see a continuation of that story with Val Kilmer's son, Robert De Niro. I want to see, because some are dead. But if you're going to continue the story, I don't want to have a remake of that. But I want to see the same stuff done with the new breed of characters, of actors. And I don't want them to be those same people. You know? You can have, was it Ashley Judd? She could be in it. With the son, gets out of jail. You could have it. You know? Yeah, Tom Sizemore, great. Like, you can't just recreate that stuff. But if we're going to continue stuff with it, make it go that way, right? And yes, some actors can't reprise their role. And you can't do it. Now, you know what I also saw too? I saw news that they're making Mufasa, The Lion King 2. Live action. Right? And so, exactly, we want sequels. We don't want reboots or remakes or this. Just continue the story. A sequel is what we need. So if they're really making Mufasa, right, which I believe they are, I think it was shown at the Disney annual meeting for shareholders or whatever, the Disney people who own their stock. Why didn't you make this movie 20 years ago in an animated form with James Earl Jones as the voice? Like, I'm pretty sure, I looked it up, James Earl Jones is still alive, but he's 93 years old. I don't think he's going to be doing the voice acting for that. And he's iconically Mufasa. Like, his voice is pretty amazing and pretty awesome. And so for anyone else to voice that, like when we're watching X-Men 97, some of the acting, the voice acting, really works because it's very similar to the original people who played Storm and Wolverine and there. But Rogue sounds kind of terrible. And the story works, but the voice acting works, and you look past it and blah, blah. But it just really works very well, and I'm glad they're continuing that story. But it's just a lot of stuff that I'm glad they're continuing it more than... And they're doing it the right way. The Marvel animation team is doing really well with it. And I like the What If series, too, as well. And it's just pretty cool, you know. Yeah, yeah. Gambit in the half shirt. Like, I don't know what's up with that. But all of you guys have been watching X-Men 97. And it just takes me back to Saturday morning in the 90s. And it just feels right. It's the nostalgic feel. And that always works. Nostalgia always works to different stuff we grew up with. Because it takes us back to that time when things were much simpler. Right? Like, if I can go back to when I was a teenager, my life was so much simpler. And so less chaotic. And less things to worry about and everything on there too. And it was just different. But it was just, you know... Yeah, X-Men 97 picks up right where the last episode ended. That's what the continuation of the story is. So it's supposed to take place in the 90s. But other than that, guys, we're, watching just little dumb shows here and there. We're excited for different stuff to come out. Hopefully I'm sure your bracket is busted. But if you got UConn and Purdue, hopefully you're good luck in your bracket. I have South Carolina and Iowa in my women's bracket, and I have South Carolina winning, but I've had too many other things wrong, so I'm sure I'm not in any money in the money by any means. But it's just entertainment, and Caitlin Clark is really, captivating for the women's game, and hopefully she can continue it on after college if she goes to the pros or goes to the big three or goes to any of that too. So. Yeah, I think Spawn could be, it doesn't have to be Spawn, the same exact story from the original 90s movie, but you could make that now and it would look much better with the graphics and the CGI and all the stuff that's done now in shows and movies. So Spawn is one that hopefully they not remake, but just make another movie of it. And it could be Michael Jai White or whatever. He's a great Spawn. he looks like the character. So I mean, he's a martial artist and everything too, and it just works. But you know, I would like to see that kind of revamped for today, and I would love to see like a Thundercats show, and I would love to see a lot of things that were, you know, nostalgic stuff back in the day put in today, and I think it would do really well. And I watched, I was doing something around the house, and I put on the latest Power Rangers movie. I'm like, wow, the Power Rangers are like Ninja Turtles. They're going to keep making that crap over and over and over and over and over again, and it's going to be good and bad and not good and bad, and it's just crazy. But, you know, some of the Ninja Turtle stuff is much better than others are, but they've been revamped so many times that they look so different in live action and whatever. But all right, guys, that's my hour. Hopefully you appreciate the effort, I guess. But we appreciate you guys. When we definitely can't do it without you. So I plan to do another live stream next Sunday, but I may be taking a break after that. But we'll have to, you know, see how the stuff goes. If not, I'll post on the on YouTube on there when we post different things. If there won't be a live stream or not. If there's going to be a live stream, it just will happen. If there's not going to be one, I'll post there as well. But stay tuned for more videos and everything, and hopefully we'll be getting more and more information about the Daryl Dixon Show, Book of Carol, and also Dead City that should start filming for season 2 this week, I believe, in Massachusetts. But remember, guys, with hard work, dedication, belief, and sacrifice, you can truly achieve your goals. Believe in yourself. You can do it no matter what it is. Keep working hard. I'll be back next Sunday. Enjoy today. If you're going to watch WrestleMania Night 2, hopefully you enjoy, and I'll be back next Sunday, guys.